What is RVIA certification? This is a really good question, and this kind of ties in with maybe a couple other questions in here too. RVIA certification is the RV industry standard certification to certify manufacturers that build RVs. This is something that I looked into. There's kind of two thoughts on the tiny house industry. The tiny house movement kind of has two different ways. Some people are certifying their houses under the RVIA designation. Some people, I see NOAA is really coming up, and I think that NOAA is probably the best way to go as far as a tiny house. And I say that for a couple of reasons. So I checked into RVIA certification. I got a letter from them, an email back, and it kind of had a couple of different scenarios and all that information. And I got this. This is something that I definitely want to share with you guys. Important information regarding tiny homes and the RV industry. So this is from them. This is what I got. And it says here, RVIA is the National Trade Association that represents the manufacturers of recreation vehicles, which includes motorhomes, travel trailers, fifth wheel trailers, and truck campers, along with park model RVs. So these things are temporary things, and there's a very specific thing in here. Do I have the right sheet? That I like to tell people, because this is something that really means something to me in the tiny house industry. So yeah. Define as a hue. Let me just make sure I find it here. I should have highlighted it, I guess. So the most important fact to take away from these basic definitions is that RVs are purpose-built as temporary accommodations for camping and seasonal use. They are not houses. They are not manufactured houses and are neither designed for or intended to serve as permanent habitations. And that line basically is the biggest problem that I have with RVs. Now, I know in southern states, Arizona, Florida, Texas, anywhere that it's warm year-round, there are 100% people living full-time in RVs. It absolutely 100% happens. I know that my grandma lived in an RV for years. I know, aunts and uncles that have RVs. They're driving their motorhome around, and they live in that year-round, 100% of the time. Maybe besides a hotel here or there, but just as much as they would be in a regular house. And in order for me to get RVIA certified, I think that I'm doing a disservice to the entire movement of tiny houses, because this is for people who want to live in their house permanently, like a 100% basis. And there are companies out there like Tumbleweed, or I'm trying to think of some other ones, some of the other big ones that are RVIA, RV tiny houses. And what they're doing with this is a play for money. This is basically not trying to move the industry further ahead. This is in my opinion too, by the way. So if you are an RV builder, you have access to lending very easily. So if I were to go and get certified as an RVIA shop, I could have access to all the banks because they have RV products, and they would say, okay, you're going to buy a 30-foot RV, we can give you a loan for that because we understand how that works. But what I'm taking away from the industry is the fact that this RV is now not permanent living, so you can't live in it permanently. And what I'm trying to do is to develop houses for people who want to live in them 100% of the time. So, you can't fault people trying to build a business and trying to make money. I get it, I understand, but I just don't think that that's where this industry is heading. I think that NOAA is a better idea, and NOAA is, National Organization for Alternative Housing, and they take a look at the house as a permanent structure, and they combine features of RV certification with residential building code, and they kind of put those two together, and that's got to be the way it is, because we're building quality homes that just so happen to be on wheels, more like a mobile home. I think in the future HUD is going to take over, probably, like they do with more mobile homes anyway, trailer park houses. So that's my take. RVIA just basically stands for that you have an RV and now it becomes not permanently livable. And that's one of the big problems with the city that I live in. We can park a trailer on our property, we can park an RV on our property, and you can camp in it a little bit here or there, but you could never live in it permanently because it's for temporary living only. So that's kind of one of these loophole issues in certain states, in certain areas, in certain cities, counties. However, that drills down where southern states like Arizona, California, even coastal states where the temperatures are a little bit better than what we have here in Minnesota, you can get away with that RVIA certification and actually stay in it for permanently because they do. So I hope that gives you a little bit of information on RVIA. That's kind of a sore subject or an interesting subject for me because I feel kind of strongly that any tiny house builder that's building houses that are for permanent living, for something that somebody's going to be their house, their home, should not be RVIA certified because I believe that that's taking away from the rest of the movement and the rest of what we're actually trying to accomplish with tiny homes, tiny houses that people live in with their families. So that's my take. I'm going to stop on that one. Off to the next question.